Hi everyone, welcome back. Happy almost New Year. I am trying to voice over any ornament videos left on my phone. So we're going to play around with Rich Cobalt, which is that blue I just showed you. And for this first one, you may have seen a previous video where I used Rich Cobalt and Irish Mist, and I didn't end up liking it that much, so I decided to use Rich Cobalt and Indian Spice. And I still didn't really love the way it turned out, but it does turn out really pretty. I actually put it on archery, but hang with me because this first one is not as pretty as the other ornaments in this video. So this is just a small little 2-inch ornament, so I have coated the inside with polyacrylic and drained out the excess, and I'm tapping in that Rich Cobalt primary element from Colourarte. Don't forget, you can save 20% using Mandy1120 from Colourarte, anything on the Colourarte website. And there's discount codes in the description box below. So Rich Cobalt is a primary element. Indian Spice is a bling it color, so you can use Indian Spice in resin or in acrylic. So now I'm just kind of tapping in that Indian Spice where we have empty space. And I think I actually end up using a little bit of interference gold, but I don't remember. But this is going to be kind of a cocktail of ornaments video because I had a few left on my phone. I'm running out of space on my phone, to be honest. So I went ahead and sped them up because by now you've probably seen a few videos. But you can see it's a little bit dark, the combination. So I add a little bit of this bright gold interference from Woodies Goodies. I'm using Woodies Goodies because I like to save my Colourarte interference for painting. Not saying Woodies Goodies interference are not great. They're great, but I just like to make sure I always have plenty of Colourarte interference colors. So you can see that lightened it up a little bit, so that's nice. So it's not my favorite ornament, but it's not bad. You know what I mean? So next up, we're going to use Rich Cobalt and Milky Way. And I really enjoy using Milky Way in ornaments because it's so very sparkly and it's sort of a whitish interference color. So it's not going to dominate any piece, but it will accentuate it. So it'll give you some like secondary color from a richer, stronger color that you have. It also makes your ornaments just really sparkly so they catch the light of the Christmas tree and whatever you're kind of putting around it. So it's really, really nice. So I think that you will enjoy the ones I'm going to make with Milky Way. I actually end up making the Rich Cobalt and the Milky Way on one of the heart ornaments. Unfortunately, I used a little bit too much of the Rich Cobalt and it kind of took over, but it's still very sparkly. I do like these heart ornaments, but they are a lot harder to kind of control the composition because for one, the ornament itself is pretty small. I think I would prefer like a 4-inch ornament so that it's a little bit bigger to work with. So I'll have to see what other sizes that she has for next year. But I still have 6 more. I've made 4 of them. I still have 6 more, so I'm gonna make them because, you know, spent good money on them. I'm going to make them. Sorry if you can hear my dog smacking. They wait until I'm recording and then they start making all kinds of really strange noises. So if I don't explain them, I'm afraid you're going to hear them and be like, what is wrong with this girl? But anyway, so now we've put the Milky Way in, we've tapped it around, and I'm a little off camera. I'm so sorry. We've tapped it around and now we're adding in the Rich Cobalt. And you can see we're starting to get some cool effects. Unfortunately, because it was difficult to control how much Milky Way went into one particular spot, on the back side of the ornament, there is way too much of the Milky Way in one spot, so the composition is not as good. But as it dries, more of that Rich Cobalt soaks into the Milky Way, so it just kind of makes it a really sparkly blue. So I used a little bit too much Rich Cobalt is the long story short version. So now we're going to use a little bit of interference violet instead of gold for this one. I figured a violet shift would be cool. You can see it. I'm a little too close to the camera, but you can see it right there. And then I think I made a bigger round one in the same colors. I don't know if I filmed that or not, but really, really pretty, really pretty. And that violet adds a nice violet shift. So very nice. I would call this the front side and that the back side. I probably need to get some extra plastic ornaments from Michaels for next year. I have a few sets of them, and I have a lot of the glass little ones, but I don't really like the little ones. I like the medium size ones. The little ones, I think I'll just create like filler ornaments for our Christmas trees, because you can't get as nice of a design because you just don't have as much real estate. But they're good for, you know, the little nooks and crannies of your tree that don't get good coverage sometimes. So there's that one. Next up, Milky Way again. And we're going to do this bigger plastic ornament. So these plastic ones, I want to say they're 3.5 or 4 inches. And they're a nice size. Now we have a pretty small tree, so they're pretty big for the tree, but I've been putting them on there anyway. But they're a nice size, especially if you have a big tree. Or if you just want varying sizes of ornaments, they're a nice size. I think the ones that are most conducive to everyone's tree size are like the 2.5-inch ones. And those are, because they're round, they're big enough. They're either 2.5 or 3 inches. They might be 3 inches. They're big enough to decorate. But the really little ones are they're challenging. But you know, this time of year you can almost get them for nothing. And so it's good to get them this time of year. So, you know, next year you can start making them as gifts. Like this year, had I had more time with school and everything, I would have definitely made more as gifts for coworkers and neighbors and stuff. I just didn't have as much time. All right, so we've got the rich cobalt again on this one, same colors. But I really like the composition better on this one. But I will say that rich cobalt is a strong color, and it absorbs into that liquid, and it pretty much took over. But what was cool about that is the Milky Way, because it has such a sparkly particulate, shines through that blue in a way that you wouldn't get with just the rich cobalt. So I love Milky Way. I use it in almost all of my geodes, and I really like using it in ornaments. So now I'm about to run out. I really need more, because we can't be out of Milky Way or Shooting Star. Those are, whoo, that's so pretty. And I love the little touch of interference violet. So pretty. It's crazy how, sorry about my dog. They're like sound asleep until I start doing this, and they start licking their toes and making smacking noises and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. So next up, I'm going to do a very similar color palette with Calypso, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous turquoise color. Maybe more of a teal color. So you'll see that coming up next. All right, so we're going to do a heart and a round ornament using the Calypso and the Milky Way. Since you're probably like, okay, I've seen this now done a few times, I'm going to speed these up so you can see the result. We're also going to use the interference violet for these as well. Okay, so Milky Way going in first because we want to have some coverage, and it's that large particulate, so it's not going to stick very well if we don't put it in while there's still quite a bit of liquid. So you can see here I did a better job of spreading it out than I did on the blue one. This one actually turns out really, really pretty, this heart. And that Calypso color is just gorgeous. I think that this color palette with the interference violet would be a nice vase. I think that would be really pretty. And I still do have some vases I need to decorate. I'm trying to do better about not having supplies just sitting here waiting to be used forever and ever. If I can make a vase and go ahead and coat the inside and get it listed and get it out of here. I need to do better about just having art supplies just sitting around waiting for their destiny. You know what I mean? And those vases are so beautiful. It's so hard to describe how pretty they are. Okay, so this one turns out beautiful. And we're just going to do one really quick with the same exact colors, but on this round one. So I hope you enjoy the color palette. And I think it's, even though it's after Christmas, you know, we're not past New Year's yet. So hopefully you guys can still appreciate some ornaments. You know, for some people, as soon as Christmas is over, everything, that's it. Christmas is over, game over, put everything up. I get that, right? Like, you're no longer waiting for that climactic moment of Christmas. But then there's some of us that keep our lights and tree and everything up past right after New Year's. So if you're one of those people, you still might be in the Christmas spirit. I know I feel like I barely get started on Christmas stuff and then Christmas is over, and that's such a bummer for me. But then, you know, it's hard to motivate yourself to work on Christmas stuff when it's not quite Christmas yet. But then when it's approaching, you're like, okay, I can work in that direction. But I think I definitely want to work on ornaments throughout the year. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.